Reality check on the devastation there. But first, the headlines this morning. About 5 million homes and businesses still without power after Irma. Florida Power and Light expects to get its East Coast customers back on the grid by this Friday. That is their hope. But people on the West Coast, the Gulf Coast of Florida, well, they could suffer through what is expected to be at least 9 more days in the dark in the sweltering heat because of a lack of power. Irma now blamed for 55 deaths, 12 of them across Florida, 24 in the United States total right now. Right now, Florida's governor is starting another damage tour. We are expecting to hear from him on this program, so you'll hear that here live. Let's get to John Berman. He is on Big Pine Key right now. John, you made your way with your team in a helicopter yesterday after this show all the way down there. And to tell our viewers, this is really, not far from Key West, close to the end of the Keys. This is part of the lower Keys that were hit so hard.
Yeah, the Big Pine Key is in the lower Key. I guess I'm mile 23 marker right here. Big Pine is up about 23 miles from the far south. This is the worst that we've seen in terms of damage right now. Papa, you can see I'm standing on storm surge. I mean, all this sand, all this muck was pushed up by the force of the storm. And you can see the house behind me. You can see the storm surge came through the garage. The wind and the surge pushed through the garage and pushed all this stuff right up here where I'm standing right now. People's lives here washed out of their houses. Julie Garwood, Heartbreaker, the book that was pushed out of that house right now. He said we flew in by helicopter, landed just south of here on Sugarloaf Key. When we flew in, what we saw was most structures intact. Most structures intact, but nearly every structure damaged. There will be work that needs to be done on nearly every building that I've seen in the Keys right now. That will be time-consuming, and that will be extensive. We saw a whole lot of utilities and a whole lot of recovery efforts staged, waiting to get underway. In the about 10-mile drive from Sugarloaf Key up here to Big Pine Key, I saw a row of 23 utility trucks just waiting to get to work. The military has been in here. I saw military police here for law enforcement. They want to keep order here while there is this sort of feeling of chaos around and about. And I did talk to local law enforcement as well, who are doing the best they can. They're stretched thin. They're worried about their own homes. One officer told me that his whole entire first floor was washed out, but he hasn't been home because he's been keeping the peace. Now, this is Big Pine Key. This is the worst we've seen. We have seen houses destroyed here, many houses completely destroyed, including this blue one here behind me. We don't see the owner of this house. He has not come back yet since the storm. But I did find Mike Wallace. Mike Wallace joins me now. Walk over here, Mike. You're too tall to stand up on the mound here.
No problem.
Mike Wallace, who's a Massachusetts native, so I like him just to begin with here. Mike actually was house sitting across the street, went from his relatively safer place elsewhere in Big Pine Key over to here where the storm hit really bad. Mike, what was it like to go through the middle of the storm?
It was unbelievable. It was like being in a war zone, basically. Just a surge coming at us, hitting that house. I could literally feel that house just shaking, banging. The winds were intense. This total devastation here.
How high was the storm surge? I mean, we see the sand piled up. We see the sand piled up 5 feet here. How high did the storm surge get here?
In the house we're staying, watching the storm surge, the water inside on the first level is approximately 8 feet tall, 8 feet high.